Sound check, sound check. Sound check, sound check. Hey, Toph, you're there? Yeah, while we can't hear Toph, Darius, our friend Darius, I want to say hello. Good afternoon, everyone watching. This is the Grid PlayStation F3, and this is round. I forgot the, the number of the round, but definitely we are in Canada. We're starting a short qualifying session. As you can see, the grid has 18 drivers there. We're gonna be talking about each of them. You can see already some Red Bull leaving the track. This is, let's see who's the first. Okay, probably Elliot Parker. Yeah, but yeah, the other Red Bull went out, and all the drivers are lining up to try their first, let's say, fastest lap. Yeah, qualifying is starting. While we wait for Solf, and Solf, whenever you're ready, just let me know. Yeah, I can't hear Solf for a reason. We'll check that as well. Let me enable some features here so that we can see what's going on. Yeah, I don't know what Duncan is doing with the medium tires, as well with Parker as well. Maybe I need to learn it a bit more, but there's no reason for using the medium tires on the qualifying lap. Also because you're not, let's say, it's not mandatory to use the tire. You had your best lap during qualifying, so apart from saving some soft tires, I don't see a reason there. But yeah, we always this is the kind of game we always learn, So never mind. Cool. So apparently the first one approaching would be Parker Elliott himself, but on medium tires, yeah, I'll actually skip to Ivan. No, Duncan as well. Oh, Duncan is also on medium, so yeah. So let's go for Andriesk. Yeah, he's opening up his lap, and that will be an interesting one to check up on. I'll remove the tires. I'll go for the. That's with no detail there. Yep, definitely a challenging track we're going to be having around. It's kind of a mix between an official circuit and it has some features of let's say a street circuit. But yeah, it's a matter of preference. Yeah, we have been debating that a lot. But definitely a challenging, a technical one, and the lap times are really, let's say, it's a short track. I would say that normally those lap times they go around 1 minute 11, 1 minute 10, and so on. Yeah, it's fun and definitely one of the legendary circuits. Being there on the Formula One, seasons for a while, for many decades, I have to say. Yeah, lots of history around. So if you're there, yeah, I heard some noise, but Sophus is still shy. Yeah, he said he would be around during quali. Yeah. Yeah, as you can see, Andresk was able to set a 1:11.9 time. Definitely, there's room for improvement there. It's just the beginning. But many drivers on track, as you can see in the map on the right side. Yeah, nearly all of them are on track. Yeah, there's an AlphaTauri here from Reloaded. Reloaded should be on. He's actually opening up his lap. So yeah, let's follow him. Yeah, there's this sequence of turns 1 and 2, second to third gear on that exit, and there's a blind turn 4 here and 5. Yeah, after this sequence, left and right, you have the second DRS on. I'm not sure he's in a fast lap though. Many drivers, slow drivers or even stopped drivers, on the track. You definitely need to manage traffic in this session, especially because the track is short and the grid is full.
Hello.
Hey, Soph.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, yourself, good?
Good. I'm good to go. I'm good to go.
Awesome. Yeah. So, yeah, feel free to take the lead, right? I guess that's the best setting we have here, right? Yeah, but yeah, so far, it's just, 12 minutes of the qualifying session, the short session, 18 drivers. Yeah, no big issue so far. Despite two of the drivers they're using mediums, I don't understand the strategy there. Maybe I gotta learn something. Apart from saving soft tires for the race, I don't see a reason because there's no enforcement of using that. The tires you scored your fastest lap in the race, so I don't understand yet.
Well, Elliot did this yesterday in F5, so that's just Elliot things. And then Duncan, I'm not sure what Duncan's doing. As Norrie said, a purple sector 2. And we have yellow flags in Sector 1 and Sector 2. He's coming up to the last chicane. Takes it quite well. And he is going to set a 109, 110, 11, 12, 113. Okay, so it wasn't particularly fast. Oh, it was invalidated. Oh, he invalidated in the
Yeah, it
last
was
turn.
invalidated. Yeah, Lockish,
Oh,
right?
that's unlucky. No, noise.
Noise. I see. Hmm.
Because he set a purple sector 1 and a purple sector 2. He set a purple sector 2 and a green sector 1.
Oops.
Oh, right. I had a very busy afternoon. I was off printing notes because I have like my state exams as a
I
yellow
see.
flag in sector 1, my board exams for dental school, whatever. So
Yep.
I was off printing notes all day, and then I went to play tennis straight afterwards.
Okay. Busy Saturday,
So
right?
yeah, yeah. You had a busy Saturday too, didn't
You
you?
too, exactly. Sightseeing around. I wasn't even sure I could make it, but hopefully, I mean, fortunately, that happened, right? So I'm happy. Yeah, but yeah, it's good to be busy, right? In a way.
It's definitely good to be busy. It's definitely good to be busy as Rocha has come out and he is on a flying lap. Francisco passing the dangerous turn 4 here, which is notorious for track limits. Coming
Definitely.
up to the second DRS zone. The camber in the DRS zone here, it really goes against the car, and you can lose the car quite easily
Yeah.
just before it.
Yeah.
I think it's turn 5.
Yeah, and I
And here
early
with
shift on
Sebastian
that,
Vettel.
right? By the way, just to avoid
Yeah,
too much traction, right? Yeah, I'm really careful on that one.
yeah.
Yeah, to the point of losing some time.
Oh, as a Ferrari, he just went very deep there on Francisco, just to let him pass. Um, yeah, especially on a wet track, it's quite lethal because you have to use a lot of the curb, and the car becomes unsettled, and etc. etc. As we're coming into the final chicane here, takes it okay,
Yep.
and he is going to set a 112 probably. Yeah, 112.2
Yeah.
for P12.
And there's still a lot to improve. I guess 112 is not, let's say, a fast lap. Taking into consideration the conditions. One thing I really liked is really to do the 3 tries. It's good to get acclimated to the track
Mm-hmm.
itself. Yeah, and yeah, that's how I get more and more confidence on that. Is I don't want to screw, mess up with the first try. As it happened to
Yeah.
one of our colleagues in the McLaren. I guess it was Lies, right? Team Lies, and he got a DNF, I guess, in the first try, after the first try.
Timmy, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So those things can
But you had a
happen, right?
rapid start yesterday.
Oh yeah,
You had
definitely.
Oh, as Duncan sets a fastest lap. Um, as Noise is retired, or has he DNF'd? I can't tell. I'm assuming he's DNF'd.
I can't see his car anymore. I am in the
Yeah, I
sector
can't see
there.
it, but it's highlighted out a bit on the
Yeah,
leaderboard on the left.
yeah, yeah. And he was after the hairpin, right? So in that exit of the
Hmm.
hairpin, if you really push too hard there, you can spin, you can go to the wall, you can DNF there. So it could have happened.
Very easily.
Yeah, yeah.
This is my least favorite track in this game. I
You,
despise
you
this
were
track.
telling me that, right? Yeah, yeah. Some weeks ago, you remember the talk, and yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I trained for that, uh, and I decided again being extremely careful. Yeah, and oh, by the way, I want to thank your internet provider, for the very good service yesterday on not letting you connect again.
yeah. I'm sure. Yeah.
Was that the internet itself, or was
I,
that did the game
No, the
crash?
game just blew up.
Oh
The
yeah,
game
blue
literally
screen.
just exploded on me.
Oh my goodness,
Um, I got a massive error code, and yeah.
that's sad.
Oh, as Duncan, I think is going to get a warning for his pit entry.
Okay.
But yeah, the game. Look, I don't know what happened. All I see is I'm building up a nice lead. I think it was on yourself or it was on Tim.
It could be both because Tim had a very good pace, and even with the rain, I wasn't really settled in those conditions. Yeah, you had a massive lead, But races are races, right? And the game sometimes wants to
Uh,
invade and get all the attention to it, right? So I should
I don't
thank
know. Like,
Codemasters, right? Maybe.
this is the third win this season in F5 that's been kind of snatched away from me.
Oh my goodness.
Um, I know, as we got yellow flags everywhere on the track. Oh, sick of this pit entry. That's okay. Um, yeah, like the thing was because I was talking to Villeneuve in chat in a party because we talk every Friday,
Mm-hmm.
and we were discussing when to box for enters,
Yeah.
and I'd like to think I got the strategy absolutely perfect
I
because
would
I
agree to
boxed a
that.
lap before everybody.
I would
Yeah,
agree to that. It definitely. Yeah, I was amazed. But please finish. Then I have a follow-up
yeah,
statement on that one because I believe that
perfect,
that was the
perfect.
crucial moment.
So like I thought to myself, okay, if I box a lap early, as soon as I seen a drop of rain, because I know it's a bit of a long pit, and it's not a long pit. Here, it's like a medium-sized time pit entry and exit.
Mm-hmm.
But by the time I get out, there is going to be a lot of rain on the track, and everyone's going to be slipping and sliding. And I think it was Nico Hilton or Nick Hill, and he literally just skidded coming up to turn 4 and 5. And I knew
Mm-hmm.
I'd made the perfect call,
Yeah.
and then I checked, and I have a 9-second lead. So
Yeah, so the game wasn't. Some side notes on that. The game wasn't indicated, that should be time to enter. So that was definitely your call, and that was so
mm,
fortunate. That was perfect, in my opinion, because you got a even, let's say, larger lead after that, right? And the track wasn't giving, the sense it was still slippery and so on. But it got wet so fast.
fast, yeah.
Yeah, 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 and it was so quick that the track got wet that I got amazed. And by the way, once you had Villeneuve close to you, it was also wise from your side because then you would be avoiding double stacking or even
Hmm.
having Villeneuve needing to make an extra lap on extremely wet conditions. I would say, at least for a soft tire, right?
Yeah.
And I was concerned about my mate, about Vries, right? Because I delayed one lap from the optimal conditions, which were, the lap you picked, and somehow I messed it up for my mate in a way, right?
I mean, this is it. Like it's because we were talking about it and we had time to double stack and not affect each other.
Yeah.
But I think even in hindsight, even if we did double stack, we still would have came out so far ahead of everybody.
Hmm.
Um, the Ferrari 1-2 was on yesterday until I'm going to say the game did Ferrari things for me
Hmm.
and just blew up.
Yeah, yeah,
Like I know how Charles Leclerc feels now.
yeah, yeah. So that's real sim racing, right? So the game is doing Ferrari stuff for you.
Uh,
So
I
Banks got
mean,
a 10. Meanwhile, Banks just scored 110.7, which is P4. By
as
the way,
Duncan says in the chat, he is going to try a 1 minute and 9 seconds. So good luck with
let's
that.
go
The
for it.
track is ramping up though,
Yeah.
and I think he's on his hot lap now. No, he is because he's using battery.
Duncan.
Yes,
Okay.
he's 2 tenths up on his time currently, which would put him in and around the 109s. As yellow flags in sector 1 and sector 2. That was a purple sector 1 from Duncan as well. This is a very famous chicane here, a little or sets of turns with Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I recall, some seasons ago, Vettel going straight on turn 3 again,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah. I think it was turn 6 or 7. As now Duncan is 3 tenths up going into the last turns, but then he famously changed the placards for P1 and P2 in
Oh
Parc
yeah,
Ferme.
yeah, yeah. Oh, was that in Montreal?
I think so. Wow, 4.5 tenths. That's amazing. A
Mm,
109.852.
yeah, good job.
As Dino is snitching on Lee Webb in the chat, saying he's blocking drivers.
So
As
Dino,
there's yellow
Dino's
flags
complaining about
everywhere.
whom?
Lee Webb apparently is
Hmm.
blocking drivers.
Well,
Well, it's too late to check now anyway. Just 2 minutes, under 2 minutes left in qualifying. Track is going to be nicely up to temperature now.
Well, I have Lee Webb on screen. Maybe he's now being blocked by others. Because the track is full. Yeah.
Yeah, like I to be honest, I didn't have pace last night in qualifying. I was very scared because I didn't want to bin the car, and I ended up burning a set of tires because of it. My first stint. So. As Duncan's probably not going to do another lap, but Locking will be, I'm sure. He's doing his out lap now, or he's going around again, yeah. So we should probably ride on board with Locking here because he is the man who is chasing Duncan.
Hairpin?
This tricky little hairpin. A lot of ways you can attack it. Good overtaking zone as well if you time it right.
He's warming tires up, so he will open a lap, I guess, right? Yeah.
His tires are in the 84-degree mark, so hopefully he has the grip. He's really slowed down there for the hairpin. He really wants to make sure he doesn't invalidate before starting the lap. But here he goes. Coming into turn 1 here, you can take loads of curb here, but it's a possibility to DNF or invalidate. Sorry. Coming around, okay. Takes that very smoothly. Perfect traction. Coming up to the turns 3 and 4, very tricky here for track limits. Very easy to get penalties. It's in very, very smoothly, hugging the right side of the track, and he is 2.5 tenths up in his time.
He will have some traffic ahead, by the way.
Yes, which might be beneficial to him if he comes into contact with them in the last DRS zone. Tricky turns here now. It's them pretty smooth. See what's happening now. Comes up to the hairpin. Okay. Sticking to the left side. Bit of curb. No. Okay. That was a purple sector too as well. So he's not going to get a slipstream from anybody else here. How does he attack the last chicane? Plenty on the right. It doesn't invalidate. Duncan's retired naturally enough. And that is going to be a 110 for P2. He improves by 3.5 tenths. So, as Bank is the next person across the line with a 110.755. Does not improve. Lee Webb. I don't know what Lee Webb's doing. And that is qualifying.
That's it, because Lee Webb's lap is not valid at this point. You know, he even his low down, so I guess it's over.
He improved by 4 tenths on his last lap. So that's qualifying finished. Duncan on first, Lockig reloaded, Roswell, Ivan Belov, Banked, Mazzy, Lee Webb, Pinzio, and Andreas round out the top 10. P11 is extinct. P12 is Crackshot, Elliot Parker in third, Ed 13, Edzak in P14, Kuban 15, Pusher Dino in 16th, Francisco Rocha in 17th, and Noise in 18th because he did not set a time.
Yeah, so big surprise that Noise will be starting, from the end of the grid. If we go back to the standings themselves, Reloaded is the first, the first one on the standings, and then he's followed by Loki, and then by Crystal. Crystal is not on the grid, right?
I know Crystal's not here today.
Yeah, and then P4 on the standings would be Banks, and then East. East is not here either, right?
East is retired.
Okay.
He has given up on the game.
Okay.
Until 23 comes out.
Okay. Oh, I saw the talk there, and so and Crystal is not there either. So yeah, so P3 will not be involving apparently today, right, on the standings.
This is a great chance for P1 and P2 to make a bit of a gap here.
Sure. Definitely, or P4 to catch up, right? For Banks to catch
exactly.
up. Exactly. Yeah, that can happen.
Definitely. So we're just waiting on. I think it's Lee Webb just for his internet to pick up. Probably because he's on PlayStation 4, I think.
Yeah. For
me, we have quite a variety of drivers today, don't we? We've got people from F5 and people from F4 as well. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just checking up because I'm not moving on with the game. It's just showing me the race director and the standings of short qualifying, but it's not moving on.
I'm just waiting for players. It says. No,
Okay.
it's everyone's done though. After last night, I don't want to say anything about this game.
Yeah, yeah. I understand that, but please let me know how you're doing at your side because it's not moving on for me here. I'm kind of just
It just
stuck
says
in the race
waiting.
for players.
Yeah, yeah. It just says waiting for players, but then everyone's ticked.
Okay, that's
I don't know.
weird. Yeah, we should maybe check on the chat, right? Because maybe something is going on. Is the lab going? Yeah, Vaj is asking. Maybe because he's listening to us, right?
It says they're waiting for me, but how can they be waiting for me?
Yeah, they're asking you to do stuff.
I can't do anything. I'm ticked. There's a tick beside my name. Okay. They're asking me to leave.
Weird. Yeah, you left and the game is moving on.
Of
Yeah.
course it is.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'll try to send you an invite just in case you can't,
I should be able
join.
to join off here.
Yeah. After me? Yeah. Okay. Just check if you need an invite. Yeah, yeah. I'm being asked by Vaj to send you an invite and I'll do it right away. It's raining! It's
No.
raining! Yeah, yeah, yeah. But, let's see. Well, maybe I can invite you. Yeah, I can. Okay, maybe you're gonna be able to catch up the start. Uh,
Oh my
the,
God! It looks like full wets from the stream.
yeah, it's raining a lot. Cats and dogs, as they say, right? Yeah, yeah. No, it's just water. Okay, and yeah, I see you just joined Solf, and it's raining a lot. The stopwatch is counting. The start will take place in 15 seconds. I hope you can still take
Yeah, I'm
it.
in. Well, it says I'm in, but
Okay.
I don't know. It
Yeah.
says ready.
Okay. Yeah, just let me know if you can see. Otherwise, I'll trying to to tell everybody watching, what's going will go on it. Lights out. Lights out in the field. Five red lights and lights out. Duncan is taking the lead.
Yes.
Can you see
I
it?
and as reloaded comes through, passing over Lockig, and I need to change my view.
So far, so good.
Keep it clean through turn one. As we have a yellow flag already.
Whoa!
As Lockig has gone off and is ghosting, coming through as everyone is making his way past me. Probably has wing damage. Lee Webb back up to 8th place, banked, overtaking Ivan Belov. And as I see debris flying onto the track, as a quick look at the start there, Locking has dropped down 10 places. Lee Webb has dropped down 11 places. The predicted stop strategy today from AWS is a 2-stop. Full wets. Oh, nice. Dino up 8 places. Noise up 7. Crackshot has left the session. His car is still running. Locking overtakes him. There's yellow flags again in Sector 2 and Sector 3. And for some reason, my car is... I have a car. What? Hold on a second. Let me take control of this vehicle. How do I do that? Let me take control and just retire. Why am I racing people? No, stop this. What the...
I'll check the others meanwhile, okay? So while you're
Yeah,
doing that,
as
so
I,
yeah, just let me know when you're done with the retirement of the race. But by the way, good job. You're P17.
okay, I've retired. Yes, I have retired. Okay, good. That was
Yeah.
very strange. Right, anyway, back up to the front. Duncan leading, followed by Reloaded. He has a 1 second gap. 1 second gap spreading everybody at least up to P6. An amazing start from Dino. Up 10 places. A yellow flag in Sector 1. As I hope my car is not coming back out.
It
It's not
will.
okay.
It will. Yeah,
Why?
yeah, it's thirst of sport and everything. You want to race, man? Yeah, it will retire. It will leave the track in the first exit.
Hopefully.
It will.
As
Lucky.
yes, locking down 8 places from his start now. Not the best for him, but I'm sure he'll be able to fight his way back up. He's currently behind Noise, very close behind him. As the Alpine of Extinct is coming up behind him as Pinzio has retired from the session. That's a DNF. Will that bring out the safety car? As Kuban is about to pass him.
It's
Virtual
virtual
safety
safety
car,
car so
okay.
far. Virtual so far.
As Elliot Parker has already gotten a 3-second penalty. Poor Elliot. Pinzio has left. A bunch of drivers have gone into the pits. Mazzy, Rocha, Noise, and Dino after his good start, unfortunately. The main thing with this track is just to obviously keep the car on the track, but just to avoid the penalties. It's
Oh
you put
yeah,
yourself in such a good position.
that's what I was talking with my mate in F5, PS F5. With Reese, would really go into being extremely conservative and not having even warnings on that, managing that, so that
Mm.
I at the end of the race this could pay off.
Yeah,
Because of the safety cars as well. So not getting penalties would be key, in my opinion.
this is it. Like the safety car, if you have a penalty, you're in big trouble. If you've got a penalty under a safety car condition, because you could drop 7, 8, 9, 10 places back.
Sure, especially because rain was predicted for the end of the race, and under those
As
conditions, yep,
Edzak and Parker are going at it, going out of the hairpin. It's very close there.
yep.
Edzak gets the move done, and he's going to be looking to take on Crackshot next. I don't know if he's rejoined yet. Further up front, Reloaded is right behind Duncan. Is he going to make the move into turn one? No, he's not. Okay. These two are going to be battling for the majority of this race, I feel. Duncan was very strong in Austria 2 weeks ago.
Is he originally from which grid?
I think he's in F3.
Okay, Duncan.
I think Duncan just joined last week,
Oh, I see.
if I'm correct.
I see. It's just a new name for me.
Yes. He's actually a reserve.
Oh, I see.
Okay, that's I'm sure Ennis will put him as a full-time driver.
Hmm.
As now he's built up a nice gap there between himself and Reloaded. Starting to improve in that. As most of the grid is quite close to each other. Locking is making his way back up to P8. And from
Lucky.
P7 to P10 are all separated by less than a second. As Dino gets a time penalty for track limits.
So what we still don't know about is how weather conditions will remain until the end of the race. It can be dynamic in a way,
Mm-hmm.
the track get completely dry. So yeah, if someone could, but I believe it won't happen, that someone tells us, what's the weather forecast, it would help us understand the scenarios ahead. If not, that's okay. It's always fun. But if it gets if it remains extremely wet as it is right now, it can also happen. I believe that drivers they stick to those wet tires for the whole race without any stop, right?
It's possible.
Yeah,
It's possible. I think Lewis Hamilton did it before in a rear race, didn't he? He did a no-stopper
I don't
under full
remember that.
wets.
Yeah, yeah. At least regulations would permit that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
in in that sense, I believe one day that happened in, I don't know, Silverstone, right, where the wet tires were kind of slick, so wary they were, right? I remember a
Yeah.
situation like that. I saw some
So
pictures
let's
of
look
it.
into what we have here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember seeing after the race that the
Yeah.
tires are literally like slicks, as you're saying, because the grooves off them just wear away as the course of the race goes. As Extinct is right up behind Ivan in the
Hmm.
battle for P6, coming out of the last turn. Oh, and he's actually made contact with the wall very slightly. Right behind him here. Is he going to be using ERS? He is not. Oh! This is very, very close. Side-by-side action here going to turn 2. As Lockig is behind, waiting to pick up the pieces here from these two fighting.
Hmm.
And Ivan is using his battery, but he has a battery advantage over to two of them, which is very, very good for him. Ali gets another time penalty. And this is the closest battle at the moment.
Yeah, Extinct
Yeah,
against
well weather
Ivan, right?
conditions, they really, yeah, yeah. Well weather conditions, they just, for people running no traction control, they really, really test you.
My
Like the
case.
cars. As we have a VAC, what has happened here?
Oh,
I
I'm not
think
sure. I'm not
somebody
sure
dropped it.
who caused that one. Right? Apparently, everybody's on the track.
I think it was noise.
Oh,
I
there's a
think
Red
noise was
Bull,
wing damage. No.
Francisco.
Um, oh, okay. So VSC naturally just pauses the race. It does not back the pack up, as in the case of a full safety car. Um, this gives the drivers a chance to have a little breather or relax.
So with Trillis traction control, it would be a bit easier, right? With under wet conditions, that's what you were saying, right?
Hmm. Yeah, so because you can just so easily lose the car. As Mazzy has gotten a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car. You naughty, naughty boy.
As drivers are
Uh,
starting to try the inters.
yeah, as Raja has also gotten a drive-through penalty. Oh my. And he's gonna. That's unfortunate for him. He's gonna have to come back in now as well. Elliot Parker as well. Everybody is just
Whoa,
losing it here. As we have green flags back out. As I think Reloader has actually caught Duncan sleeping a bit.
they're close.
Coming up to the hairpin in sector 2. He's really gaining on him here. He's gained 2/10 so far. Oh, is he going to be using his battery? It's the main question here. He is using, but Duncan has much, much more battery stored than he does. Coming to the final two turns, no move made, keeping it safe. As Extinct is right behind Ivan Belov. Again, is he going to go for a move? No, he fakes the move on the outside, on the inside. Sorry. But now coming into turn 1, it's going to be a straight up drag race. As Roger is leaving the pits, which leaves Ivan and Extinct to both go up to P5 and 6. And side by side going into turn 2, who is going to come out the first? I think Extinct has actually gotten the move to stick. He has, coming to turn 3. Time to get your elbows out, do some defensive driving as Dino gets another time penalty.
Whoa,
Whoa!
Extinct. He kind of slided out of the exit of that turn, and he lost his position to Ivan.
It's Mazzy sets a fastest lap on the inters, so the inters are working.
So I do believe it's already time for inters. They're approaching
It
others.
looks like it. It looks like it, yeah. And let's have a look and see who is on the inters.
Raj is not
We have
making is not closing to Extinct so far, so I'm not sure yet. So
well, everyone who's pitted has been on inters. So
yeah, and the leaders
as
are
Reload
pitting as
sets a
well.
fastest lap with the wets, though. Okay. As they're both, as Duncan is in, and so is Banked, and so is Extinct, and they've all went onto the inters by the looks of it. Rasha Parker still have to serve that drive-through penalty, and Mazzy as well. Crackshot gets a 3-second penalty. Locking sits now the fastest lap on the Inters.
Ivan and Duncan.
Mm-hmm. In this kind of situation, I think Ivan just has to let Duncan. You know, they can't be fighting here. He's on wets. Ivan's on fresh Inters. Okay, they have to warm up as Noise gets a 3-second penalty, but there's not much you can do here, unfortunately. As we have Mazzy serving his drive-through, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm just following Duncan's a gap to Andreas because that's where you have the tire difference, and definitely Duncan is approaching Andreas. So yeah, it's time to go for Inters.
100%.
Whoops.
Oh, my sushi's on the way. Okay, great.
Cool. Ivan totally locked up on the pit entry, but managed not having a 5-second penalty.
As Roger sets the fastest lap. Roger, who recently got to, as Locking now sets an even faster lap. He recently got demoted down to F4. I'm not sure if it was choice or preference, but he's showing here he's capable of running with the F3 boys. As Dino gets the move past Andreas, and Andreas gets the move past on Dino. I think he must have just dived into him. Drive the turn as Mazzy gets another penalty. It's not been a great race for him in the Alfa Romeo. And Bank is closing in on Roswell. Will he be able to stay with him? And the back straight in Sector 3 as his yellow flag in Sector 1 and Sector 2, and he's very, very close here, Banked, and he's made the move going into the final chicane. Oh, and there's contact there between Banked and Roswell. Duncan sets a fastest lap, top yellow flag in Sector 2 as I think the McLaren of Kuban has went off. And Banked is just going to want to pull away now from Roswell if he can.
Yeah, Kuban is back on track and apparently no wing damage despite the 3-second time penalty he just got.
We could see a few disqualifications here as Duncan sets a purple Sector 1 from time penalties. Let's have a look at the penalties now. So far, we have Pusher and Parker both on 6. Okay, so Noise now sets a fastest stop. So I don't think anybody will be disqualified today.
Well, that can still happen though, right? You don't know how things escalate,
Yeah.
you know. It's a mix between, I mean, the track is already favorable for things like that, but it's a mix on whether, you know, you're having virtual safety cars, and also how weather conditions change a lot, and ultimately if you're having fights, you know, for positions, because things can get really, really, really messy when you have, you know, 3 wide situations or, you know, too much alternations in positions. Yeah, it's open. It can happen.
Well, this is the thing with the newer generation of Formula One cars. They're so much bigger than the older ones.
Yeah.
And the tracks haven't become bigger. So there's less of a gap to go for. There's less space as Andreas is closing in on Ivan. And as a result of that, like, you're going to go off track a lot more. Now, obviously, in real life, the stewards have got a bit more common sense than this game. As Mazzy gets another penalty, as in the stewarding from Codemasters themselves, they just throw warnings and penalties, even if you don't get a lasting advantage, because that is the definition for it. If you go off track, you have to get a lasting advantage. And a good example of that is turn 4 in Bahrain, where if you remember, Verstappen overtook Hamilton in 21.
Famous situation, yeah.
Because that's. Yeah, exactly. Whereas the game would immediately throw a penalty at you there.
Yeah, and every time I do that turn four, in at the exit of that turn, right, on Bahrain, I just remember how the situation was because apparently Hamilton would have had, crossed the line, the white line there, off
Hmm.
limits multiple times, I guess 30 or something like that. Someone counted, right? But there was no lasting advantage. It was something maybe just incremental or marginal, whatever you can say about, right? But the thing is, when Verstappen overtook him, and at the exit of turn four, he crossed the line. He got somehow a warning or maybe just an orientation to give it back, to give the position back because he completed the overtake by crossing track limits
Yeah.
on that condition, right? But it's really, yeah, something somehow controversial. I mean, limits are an important thing. They exist for a reason, right? And but yeah, you should put everything into perspective. I believe everything counts. To really
But it's the
understand
size of the
it.
car.
Mhm.
If the car is too big, you're going to have to go off track. I'll be back to you in 2 seconds, Bobby. I'm just going to get my food.
Okay, no problem. Meanwhile, let's follow Extinct Body Chase into Crackshot. Even though Crackshot has the 3 second penalty, yep, there can be some fight for track position, right? And of course, because we are in wet conditions, there's no DRS. In dry conditions, he would have had DRS, and while Crackshot takes a defensive position there, but yeah, nothing will happen apparently through the. Oh, actually, yeah, someone went to pits, and it was Crackshot. He went to pits for a reason. Oh, he retired actually. Well, I didn't understand that. Maybe he can explain later. I don't know exactly what happened. He was having a decent race, and he has had no penalties at all, while Pushadin on 9 has 9 seconds. But yeah, but unfortunately, we have Crackshot Gang. Crackshot, yep, retiring from the race on the pits. So let's check for Andresk. Andresk is chasing Ivan. They're both without any time penalties. Yeah, and this is a fight for P7, right?
Okay, I'm back. I got my food.
Good, good, good. Yeah, something happened. Meanwhile, Crackshot, he just retired on the pits while he was,
Okay.
in a fight for P9.
Oh. As it says, he went on the softs. Oh, it's because he pitted. The thing I find in this game is if you get rear wing damage of any sort, and I'm not saying he did, Duncan sets another fastest lap. This man has great pace. The race is essentially over for you,
Oh yeah,
and you just need to retire
yeah.
in a
It's just
safe manner.
too much oversteer, I guess, right? That's the main thing you see,
Yeah, yeah.
you sense on that with the, and that damage is permanent. You can't change anything if you stop for pits, right? So it's different than the front wing. For front wing, yeah, there's unlimited bottomless wings in the pit lane, right? So you can stop whenever you want, no problem. And the other drivers will thank you for that, for doing that. And
What race was it last year? I think it was as you got a yellow flag in Sector 3. Was it Baku last year where Yuki Tsunoda, as Dino gets another penalty, green flags? He, I think his rear wing was damaged, and they placed like masking tape
oh
on
yeah,
the.
I remember. Oh,
On
that
the ring.
happens many times actually. I saw even during when I see it? It was recent somehow. Maybe it was during practice in Bahrain recently. This season already. Yeah, there's
Mhm.
duct tape all around, silver tape. Yeah, yeah. So it's part of the technology.
I mean, yeah, you can't beat a good old bit of masking tape as Leo has left the session. Locking has a penalty, and he is very close behind Roger coming up to turn one now. But he hasn't got much battery left. So harvesting battery is kind of difficult in this track, if I remember straight.
Yeah, yeah. It normally is because you're not having, let's say, a low downforce car. You need more wings, so you need to
Hmm.
have the whole drag mechanism, so that your car stays on track and you can attack those turns. And because you're doing that, this needs more battery, and then you won't be able to harvest much. It will take more
Uh-huh.
time. Yeah.
As Russia gets a penalty, these two are going to be. I think Locking might make the move going into the hairpin here. He's not using, so I think if he used there, he could have made the move. To be honest, as a yellow flag in sector one, as one of the Mercedes has went up. Noise is retired from the session. Safety car.
Whoa.
Now, does anyone box here for fresh enters? That's the question.
Oh, he's he's in the wrong way. He spun definitely, and he should have hit the wall. And yeah,
Opa.
completely. That's sad because he's one of the leaders, right? On the
Mm.
standings, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He was doing great in Austria as well 2 weeks ago. Full safety car. So, what was your impression of last Sunday at the Bahrain Grand Prix? I'm expecting you to be delighted that El Plan was in full swing.
Oh yeah. So the thing is, I wasn't expecting Alonso actually on the podium. I was more for Carlos Sainz, just because of the setting of Ferrari. I I messed up with one of my, let's say, predictions. Let's say I was um, considering Russell would be, outperforming Hamilton for, some slight margin, right? But that didn't happen. Hamilton stayed ahead of him, even though I guess it was P5 or so, right? So. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mercedes wasn't, let's say, the successful car. Some might have inferred by, some, I don't know, the, the, the pre-season testing and so on. So, yeah, yeah.
As we have drivers on mediums, sorry to cut across you, Fabi. We've got Dino and Parker both on mediums and Russia as
Oh,
well. Track
whoa.
must be drying up. This is brave. But then again, there'll be 2 more laps at safety car at least. Sorry, go on ahead there. Continue, please.
Yeah, that was brave. That was definitely brave from those three drivers on mediums because it's still raining. The track is wet, so yeah. But let's see. We have still 2 laps, and that
As we
can.
got Rodwell in the pits now as well. Will he go into mediums as well? Let's have a
Whoa,
look.
whoa.
He has. It must be time for dry, so.
He's changing wings there. So apparently he's kind of gambling a bit, right? Because he needed to change wings anyway, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but regarding Baku, very good opening race for the season. Looking forward to that, right? And again, Red Bull apparently, one step ahead of all the others. I'm really happy to see Aston Martin improving. It can be really the big thing happening, and we all want, new stuff happening in those new seasons, right? So that we don't stay always, let's say, seeing on front, the usual teams, right? So it's good to see
Yeah.
Aston Martin there, and not a so positive note was definitely McLaren, right? Alpine as well, right? Not Alpine, but I guess Ocon himself, he struggled a lot with penalties and so, right? That was kind of
He was
crazy.
doing his best F5 impersonation.
Oh my god! Yeah, he could be invited to join us
I
if that's
know
the case,
it.
right? Yeah, yeah. He had his Parker moment, maybe. I don't know. Yeah,
Because the thing is, I seen the analysis afterwards, and because he had a start infringement,
yeah.
and his tire was very, very far to the right.
Yeah,
Like,
noticeable.
he
Yeah.
just didn't line the carb correctly. As Elliot, speaking of Elliot, he gets a 3-second penalty under safety car conditions.
Okay.
As he's almost going to spin there. No, he's okay. Um, but yeah, like even look, Gasly had an amazing. I think he had a fantastic Grand Prix.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Bahrain.
yeah. And I said Alpine, but it's just Ocon because Alpine overall um, had a kind of a, a good performance despite what happened to Ocon. Yeah, Gasly was a positive note in my opinion, right? And yeah, but not so positive. Definitely McLaren. Yeah.
Yeah, McLaren, I don't know, like that. What was it? 6 stops for Lando or something in the end,
Whoa, yeah.
and Piastri's car just decided to blow up. So, like, it wasn't a great showing for them. I think they're the worst car in the grid at the moment now. Williams really surprised me. Logan Sargent looks the real deal, and Alex Albon is getting the max out of that car every single weekend. That kid is going to be. You give him 2 more seasons or 1 more season, and he deserves a top seat or a top 3 seat.
Yeah, and not to
Uh,
forget, because Albon had his top seat in the past, but unfortunately things didn't go well, as it happened to Gasly as well. But these guys are kind of, working towards deserving that back again, right? It's all about
well, the
performance,
amazing thing
right?
is, safety cars in this lap, and we'll just go to the front of the pack with Duncan, who's going to restart us. The amazing thing is, Alex Albon recently did a piece for the Players Tribune, and it's very interesting. If you read about it,
Hmm.
and he basically says, now I think it's common knowledge, but this confirms, I suppose it confirms to the public eye, that that car is suited to Max,
Hmm.
and you have to deliver in a top team. Again, it's common sense. As I expect Duncan to start slowing down and slowing the pack up, and if you don't do that, you're out. And we've seen that with Albon. Is he gone already?
Yeah,
Oh, he's gone already. That's very quick. We've seen him at Albon. We've seen him at Gasly. If you don't, you're out. You only get 2 or 3. You only get your one shot, and that's it. But I think Alex Albon, he went through a bit of a dark time
hmm,
afterwards, as there's lots of overtaking happening here.
yeah,
Roswell getting pieces done here, and Extinct as well, as Reload has dropped down. And he's in the pits.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. They decided
All
last
these
minute
drivers.
to change it to dry tires, to medium tires,
Mhm.
and it stopped raining. The track is kind of dry now. Apparently, Roswell, Extinct, and Parker will will benefit from that definitely. And now we're having at a not so good position Duncan, Banks, and Edzak because they are on Inters, still on Inters.
But Lockings came out on brand new Inters. What has he done there? He's done a Ferrari. He's done a Ferrari. What's he done there? Extinct is on the freshest tires of the top 5. Reloaded is on brand new mediums as well. Why has he done that? You silly goose. Now, can Extinct get the move done on Roswell? Not yet. DRS will be turning on as well pretty soon, as they are going to go side by side down the main straight of Sector 3, with Edzak getting the move on Roswell, and Extinct is literally right behind them. This is a bit dangerous. Edzak dives into the pits. Okay. And
All of
Roswell
them.
is now up to P1. Extinct sets the fastest lap. Elliott sets the fastest lap. Naturally, with the track being dry. This is Roswell's race to lose. Andreas gets a 3-second penalty. He just needs to hold his nerve now. Dino now sets the fastest lap. Now, the interesting thing is, if we see another safety car,
Mhm.
do the people at the back gamble and go on softs? Elliott gets another penalty.
Yeah, this could be one of the options there. But the big thing here that we're facing right now is that those guys that changed immediately when safety car came, when they changed it immediately to the medium tires, even though track conditions weren't like that at that point. That was the master move, because now these guys are in the front, and the others that were performing better um, during wet conditions, they had just a late stop in during green flag, and this is a massive, let's say, loss of time.
As Extinct is right in the back of Roswell, Locking gets another penalty. Roswell using that battery to get away from Extinct as best he can. Roswell sets the fastest lap as well. Reloaded gets a 3-second penalty. That is going to be very, very big. Elliott Parker's 15 seconds in penalties.
Man.
Mazzy gets another penalty. See, this is what we were saying, because now Duncan has a shot at P3 here. Oh, never mind. A commentator's curse there. Banks has a shot at P3 here.
It's really dynamic. It's happening. You mentioned that, right? So penalties can be another much relevant component in this race here. Yeah, and we can see those penalties popping up all the time on screen. Yeah, it's Yeah,
There's a
and
bank
bank.
now. What is going on? See, the track is dry now, so people are a bit more aggressive, I suppose. Um, and people are going to be starting hitting the curbs a bit harder, hitting the limits of the track a bit harder.
Yeah.
But if you're
Meanwhile,
Roswell here, just take it easy. But
well,
Extinct is catching him now.
DRS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the mindset changes, right? When you're racing in wets, you kind of have a different, just a different approach with the car. Sensitiveness is different as well, braking points and so on. So drivers must adapt quickly to the new conditions, and during that adaptation, it can happen. You go off limits, or start having issues like that, warnings, penalties, and so on. And Roger, he didn't get much traction in that exit.
No, and he is being chased down by Extinct now. Who's got DRS coming into the chicane? It's easy to lose traction coming out of that turn as well.
Oh yeah.
And again, Extinct is catching him rapidly. Are we going to see a move here? No. Okay. This is a yellow flag in Sector 2. I think the Alfa Romeo has gone off of Mazzy. But Extinct is going to have DRS again. Rush will get a much better exit on the hairpin.
They touched
This is,
in
this
the
is another
hairpin.
track of double. Oh, did they? Okay.
They did a little bit. Yeah, that's why Extinct is a little bit behind. I just heard it, and we all heard that live, by the way. Parker had problems.
Ow. I just got a massive load of wasabi.
Oh my goodness. So
Oh,
meanwhile,
oh
let me
God.
take over from that while you recover from that. Because wasabi is really also, it's the Aston
Oh,
Martin.
it's potent.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Which is alright. Where we can see right in front of us is the chase between Extinct into Roswell. Again, he has the DRS. Oh, Pochettino got another thing. So there's also another very interesting dispute here, Darius, which is between Parker and Puchardino. They're trying to see who gets more penalties, and now it's even.
They've got their own race going
Exactly.
on.
Yeah. That's dispute everywhere. So different racing line from Extinct Body. He broke a little bit too late, but maybe it will pay off again in approaching, because there's a sequence of two DRSs now towards the Wall of Champions chicane, right?
This is like Australia. You get a double helping of DRS here.
Yeah.
As Extinct gets its free penalty, this is done. Roswell, just hold your cool, mate. As Extinct is Extinct is making the move, going to turn one. Okay, they kept it safe. It's right on the back of him here. He just seems to have much better traction in Sector 1.
Yeah. And another thing that when you're deciding about setups in conditions like dynamic conditions where the weather will change, it's going to rain and then it's going to shift to dry track later. So balancing what would be the optimal setup is interesting as well. You can have a setup which is more suitable to the raining conditions, right? And then it's not when it gets dry, right?
Well, this is it, because what do you do? Like, if you do the quali and dry setup, all you can do is really raise the front wing and the differential and maybe the tire pressures, but that's about it. As Extinct is going to have DRS again going up the back straight. There's yellow flags in Sector 2 and Sector 3, as it looks like a Ferrari is now of Andreas. Oh, that's not pretty. He's having problems reversing it out. As Edzak, interesting enough here, everyone ahead of him has penalties. As Extinct has made the move and is automatically giving it back, going into turn 2. This is going side by side in turn 3 now. He's gone on the grass. Has to be very careful, give lots of space. Well, he's made the move stick on Roswell. Roswell's going to have DRS now. Well, he gets another penalty.
Whoa!
Oh! Was there contact?
I believe so. Yeah. I believe it was due to a contact. Not sure though, but it could be because they were really, really close. And in that specific turn as well, every kind of thing that would unbalance the car can make you spin.
Yeah, definitely. As Elliott gets another penalty. He is now winning the race.
Yeah.
For most penalties.
Yeah.
9 laps to go. He might get DQ'd. Kuban has now entered the race with his own 3 seconds. So, if I remember Roswell here, I've got a feeling that Extinct is going to report that. I didn't actually see the contact because my camera was in the wrong view, but if that's the case, he wants to build a 5-second gap up to the nearest person behind him, and then it doesn't really matter. And he's got a 3-second penalty on reloaded. So he has about a 4-second gap already. Now he just needs to push a bit more. And yeah, that's what I'd be thinking now if I was him. That'd be my mentality at this point.
Yeah, I just feel bad because Xint was having really a very good pace after, especially after having those dry conditions, right? And he was chasing Roswell for many laps, and finally he got the overtake, but unfortunately that
Yellow
happened.
flag in sector 1 as Lee Webb has went off. Yeah, and this is the thing with like we were saying earlier, bigger cars, the tracks haven't gotten bigger, and contact's going to happen more and more. Like these cars are massive.
Yeah.
Especially compared to the old Formula 1 cars.
Oh yeah, and we have seen some charts around that cars definitely got bigger. Yeah, sometimes from one season to another, oh man, I can see Roswell.
Oh, here we go.
Whoa.
As Duncan gets past him as well.
Yeah, he can manage from there as well, and maybe just managing DRS and ERS, right, and still win the race despite any steward work.
Yeah. As Extinct gets another penalty for him, that's unfortunate. As Banked is right behind him as well. As Ivan Belov has made a move on Dino. I think Dino, if you're in Dino's position here, or Elliott's, or even Locking's, you just kind of let people pass as Kuban gets another penalty. Because you've got, your race is effectively over. You can't be racing people with 15 or 20 second time penalties, in my opinion anyway.
Yeah. And at least my expectation, but it's up to everybody, each one's discretion, right? If you're having lots of penalties, it's really not fair to be overly aggressive and disputing and those things, because ultimately you're not racing each other anymore, right? And track position is a relevant thing. Cars are not ghosted. In those conditions, you can generate an accident into someone who doesn't have the same amount of penalties you have. So it's a bit controversial. You have seen some accidents between driver with far less penalty seconds, and this is one thing to be considered. Dino
has retired. Is that going to bring out the safety car? It does not look like it. I just see a yellow flag in sector 3. Well, where has he been to? Oh, he retired in the pits. Well, see, this is the thing. I know I can only talk about my camp, which is myself and Villeneuve and F5. We have a conversation each week, and we kind of say, well, who are we racing this week? Who are we strong on this track or weak in this track? As Duncan is closing in and reloaded, and you have this idea that you don't want to burn tires or burn ERS racing somebody who is going to be much faster than you.
Yeah.
And this is just, I suppose this is, it's common sense when it's said out loud, but if you don't think about it, obviously it's not going to happen. As Duncan's closing in, there's a yellow flag in sector 2, and he's going to have another heaping of DRS.
Good point.
Bank gets the move done on Extinct. Because the thing is, you have to know who you're racing. And you see this all the time in real F1. Most famously, you hear Alonso always on the radio saying, okay, how far behind is the person he's racing? And a lot of the time it seems to be Lewis Hamilton. But, okay. Because that's who his opponent is. His opponent isn't Max Verstappen or Checo or whoever. Now, it will be now, but in seasons past.
Yeah.
As Reloaded is right behind, or Duncan is right behind Reloaded here in the DRS zone. Is he going to make the move? He's not. But I expect him to be making the move now coming out of this hairpin if he gets decent traction. reach. It doesn't look like he has. No, I think Reloaded's gotten away from there very clean. This is a yellow flag in Sector 2. It looks like the Ferrari of Andreas has retired. He's binned it. Is that going to bring out a safety car?
You could.
As they're going at it, going into turn 1, side-by-side action here. Duncan, oh, is there contact there? There's arging and barging here. Reloaded looks to have kept it. Russia gets a penalty.
Very close to each other.
Keeps. This is great racing from the two of them. This is just what we want to see.
And while they're fighting, it's another component for Rojuel to keep managing it, right? They will lose a little bit of time. He can approach a little bit because he's at 2.5, and you never know, he's almost there to not be within the gap. Oh! Extinct body.
Another yellow flag in Sector 2. Instinct has left the building. Safety car. Okay, so what do we do now, boys?
Whoa!
Alec gets another penalty. And having a look at the tyres here, everyone is on old tyres. So,
yeah.
What's going on here? Their delta must be very must be high. That's unfortunate for Extinct. He's having a great race as well. Now, does anybody box? That's the question. And Reloaded is in. Duncan is in. Roswell, you're up next. Roswell's in. Bank has not.
Yeah, he will try it.
I'm going to go for Glory. So is Ivan as well. Okay. This is the more people that don't pit, the better for Bank now, because it gets him a gap or a bridge.
Because he's the one without any penalties, right?
No, just because he's on the old... Bank is going to be on old mediums here, and the soft runners have to get past another person. So... And this is perfect for Roswell, because he's going to be on fresher tyres. There's probably going to be 1 or 2 laps of racing, and he has no penalties. I'd say the safety car come in lap 34.
Yeah, so meanwhile, just to wrap up, the topic you just introduced, Darius, I fully agree with you. You have to set, from race to race, you have to set where your priorities are at, trying to understand what's really a realistic goal there, and sometimes you have limitations. You shouldn't, let's say, tackle them too much and optimize your performance throughout that race specifically. I would even go one step ahead on that, especially for a long competition like that, where, how many rounds we're having, 15 or so?
I think it's 15 or 18, yeah. It's a long season.
It's a long season. You should consider also your competitors when it comes to the standings itself. Maybe it won't be reflecting what the track situation is at that moment, okay? So let's consider which opportunities and risks you're having during the race, but also let's consider, the standings themselves. I won't be fighting, for example, someone much, who's not competing with me on the standings as well, right?
Yeah,
but these are personal choices. Every driver does. It should be respected. But I guess the point you're bringing is exactly that: to try to think smart and optimize. What you can get from the conditions, which are never optimal, by the way.
Well, this is it. Like it's we're talking about a perfect world here. But you need to I'm not saying you need to know your ability, but you need to have an idea of, okay, I'm aiming for P1 this race. My pace is P1 potential. And if it's somewhere in the middle of the pack, you have to understand, if there's people coming up behind you who are much faster than you, if you're going to be defending, if you're aiming for P5, you may lose so much grip from the tires or so much ERS that you may end up in P7 because you've compromised yourself for the people you're actually racing.
Yeah.
As the safety car is in this lap, we're going to get 2 laps of racing. Let's see what Banked can do here. And this is it, because even if you had an engineer telling you don't fight them, obviously it's a good help for you, but you have to think in the heat of the moment, etc., so it can be It can be quite complicated. I expect Bank to be slowing them up pretty soon. He's trying to warm up his tyres, and the rest of the grid is following suit. This is a great chance for Ed Zach and Roswell. Lockie has kind of slipped into fourth here. I'm not sure how. Has he gone already? He has gone, yeah. Oh, Ed Zach, no. And Bank just kind of caught Ivan sleeping a tiny bit. And none of the soft runners actually making moves apart from against themselves as Duncan gets past Roswell. Reloaded, gets past Ivan already, okay. As Francisco gets another penalty. As we're going side by side into turn 5. This could end in tears very, very quickly. Oh, that's very clean, boys. That's great. Oh!
Tears!
Never mind, tears.
I saw tears.
I can feel the salt as Roswell now back up to P4. He just needs to hold this. If he can stick on the back of Duncan, I think he has this race. As Ivan gets another penalty. 5-second penalty for corner cutting. Roswell using that battery up to try and stay within the DRS. Although there'll be no DRS, will there? Reloaded is closing in rapidly on Banks here. Has Banks pulled off a masterclass? We are going to find out in the next minute and 15 seconds. Electing not to pit. He just needs to hold off Reloaded. Roswell needs to get a move on, but I think he actually will have the lead. Once the penalties are said and done, this is yellow flag in sector 3.
Ivan retired.
Ivan's retired.
Yep.
And Lockie's gotten another penalty. This hasn't been a great day at the office for him.
So it's the final lap, so that's the opportunity Reloaded has.
And we've another yellow flag in sector 1. It looks like Bank might have this if he just keeps his cool. But Reloaded is right behind him now, coming down the main straight. Is he going to make a move? Bank covers off the inside. Who's going to get the better traction around the hairpin as Duncan comes out of nowhere to John Cena, the two of them.
3 wide.
3 wide. Bank is being swarmed here. This is a sprint to the chicane. Yellow flag in sector 3 as well, I think, as the McLaren of Kuban's went off. And we're going into the final turn and... Oh, Duncan gets a penalty. There's contact everywhere. Roswell is absolutely loving this as Duncan will come across the line P1. No? I don't know what happened there, but Roswell wins the race. I think Duncan came across first. Banks second. Reloaded third. Duncan fourth. Ed Zach fifth. Rasha sixth. Locking seventh. That's disappointing for him. Elliot Parker in eighth. That was a very close finale to the race. Driver of the day is Ed Zach. Congratulations. Elliot's delighted in the chat that he finished the race, I think. Congratulations.
Okay. Yeah,
Duncan saying he was pushed off the track there, and he was pushed into the corner, into the wall of champions at the end. Will we see an incident report from that? Ennis, you might be busy this weekend. As Roswell, congratulations. Great race from you. Kept it clean as best he could. No time penalties. And that's what happens.
Yeah, so it was quite impressive, as we tell all the time. When you're having those changes in conditions, the driver should be aware. It's like a new race. You should make her choices on whether changing tires and those things, and that apparently paid off for Roswell, also because of management of the penalties.
Mm-hmm. So final standings: Roswell first, Bank second, Reloaded third, Duncan fourth, Edzak fifth, Rasha sixth, Locking seventh, Elliot in eighth, Mazzy ninth, and Lee Webb in 10th to round out the point finishers. Kuban, Ivan, Extinct, Andreas, and let me scroll down. Dino, Noise, Crackshot, Pinzio, and myself rounding out the rest of the grid.
So congrats all for both streaming and racing. Congrats on 19 as well.
Yeah, I'm 2 for 2 this week, not finishing races as well.
Yeah. But it was fun. I mean, I don't know what's happening with the game. The game is showing rain again, but it wasn't raining. It was a bright sun in Montreal in the end of the race. But again, another bug.
C'est la vie. And thank you for tuning in. I think F2 is starting quite quickly now, with
Cool.
F5's commentator Cameron Dunn racing there with his compatriots.
Awesome. So I'll close the streaming here. So thank you again, Darius, for joining me on this streaming. It's always fun, and I hope everybody who watched also enjoyed it. And see you next time. Right?
Take care, guys.
Take care.